All right. Well, very good. So let's move on. We got our call-in segment. Don't be that analyst now. So this tends to be folks' favorite segment of ours. So it's a call-in segment where people call in and say what analysts really should not be doing, that they've seen them do, but they really shouldn't be doing. So first on the line is Shauna. Shauna, what is your don't be that analyst?
Don't be that analyst who sends out a bulletin without being able to answer the so what. If you don't know why you're sending it, don't send it. If you know why you're sending it, hit away. You won't be on anybody's delete list.
When I hear that, it makes me pause a little bit. I certainly understand Shauna's point, but I also feel that it's also sometimes not necessarily the analyst's choice, right? I mean, if this is somewhere in a scenario where the analyst did this on their own, built this bulletin on their own, wasn't an assigned project, and then they can't answer the so what of their bulletin, certainly understand what she's talking about. But sometimes this thing's like you just get assigned, hey, get out of the bulletin. And it's not necessarily your choice, it's your supervisor's choice.
So, no, I absolutely agree with that. I too get very annoyed. It's almost as if you don't know what you're doing. Let's hear a little bit more. So,
yeah. And she was the so what analyst, which is funny that she put in that bit. It's interesting because there is so much email now. There's so much content that people consume. It's really difficult if you can't answer the so what. Is like, if you can't answer the so what, why should they take the time to read what you wrote? I think that's the point there. Second caller, next on the line is Adrian. Adrian, what's your don't be that analyst?
Don't be that analyst that doesn't give our sworn counterparts their due credit. We can't do it without them, and they can't do it without us. We work as a team.
What's your first reaction to that?
I could not agree more with Adrian. Girl, there is nothing more frustrating. Let's be honest, it's a team effort. We're all trying to accomplish the same thing. We need to give credit where credit is due. So I'm with you, girl.
I think it's just too bad that there is the culture in there, the feeling that you have, that it's not just one team, right? I talked about this a little bit in my episode from a couple of weeks ago. Is like where I'm at now, there's not this feeling of, oh, it's like sworn versus civilian. That idea is really not even there. So it's refreshing that I'm part of a team where you're standing shoulder to shoulder and there's not this any kind of question about class-based or who's getting what, or just not two types of people like some folks can feel in police departments. But certainly it's a two-way street. We talk about buy-in a lot on this show, and it is a good point that it is a two-way street. So analysts got to treat fellow officers like they want to be treated as well.
I agree with that.
All right. Next on the line is Barry. Barry, what's your don't be that analyst?
Don't be that analyst who bogarts your good work. Like it says in the movie, it's that thing you do. Somewhere along the line, you've solved a problem. You've figured out how to use a tool in Excel. You've come up with a working process for getting something done that cracked a problem that you had. And now you feel like, well, so what? Share it. Present at IACA. Post it to the forums. If nothing else, have a briefing within your department. Don't hide that thing you do.
That gets into the aspect of siloed data.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating to me that there are analysts out there who will develop a product, do great analytical work, but then not present at conferences or not present in a regional association like you're part of. They will just keep it all within house and maybe have that great product once they leave the department. So it's a little concerning that folks do that. Sometimes it's a confidence thing that like, oh, I didn't really think that if this was that big a deal. But other times they just like don't really have that interest to pay it forward.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I have been in situations like in command post, supporting an event with, multiple analysts from state, local, and even federal. Some won't share information. I'm like, we are here supporting the same event. Why are we not communicating? I'm an open book. I'm going to give you everything I have. And it's like, oh, well, they're going to take all that and they'll pass that information on, but information they have, they won't share. And that is extremely frustrating.
Yeah, there is a lot that people do pass on. As law enforcement analysts, I think the profession networks over departments better than a lot of other entities in the police department, and that we are reaching out to one another and trying to figure different stuff out. And we will go outside the department to try to solve different issues that we're having. So it's not all doom and gloom, but you definitely, like Barry is saying, don't be that analyst that just silos your idea. All right. Next on the line is Dawn. Dawn, what's your don't be that analyst?
Don't be that analyst who stays buried in your office paperwork. Make building relationships a priority. It will create the buy-in that you need and really will help you serve at your best.
Yeah,
Don, you are so correct. That's where I think it's, I'm a big advocate for networking. And Don, I also used to be that person that would sit in my office and would not talk with anybody unless they came to talk to me. You have to get out there and see what's going on, talk with your peers. You don't know what information you could be providing them and vice versa. So yeah, you got to be social.
Do you have advice for folks that are introverted, maybe a little bit shy, about ready to take that step of getting out there? Do you have any advice for them?
Oh my goodness, it's not easy, but you have to challenge yourself, accept that challenge, know that there are things that you have overcome in the past and that you can overcome this. Baby steps, just set goals for yourself. You can do it.
Right. Very good. And finally, Freddie, what's your don't be that analyst?
Yeah, Jason, don't be that analyst that keeps doing the same reports time and time again just because it's the way you've always done it. Figure out what it is people need and get the reports that people need, not the ones you've just been doing.
My first reaction is this kind of goes back to my first thought, back to Shauna's call, in that it may not be up to you. I remember when I was at Cincinnati Police Department, we had this monthly report that, I just loathed having to do it because it wasn't something that I could automate. It had data sources that came from all different parts of the police department, and we did not have a records management system at the time or a data warehouse. So some of this stuff was emailed, some of this stuff they called us up on the phone, and I never was able to fully automate it. We got a big portion of it automated as we worked on it throughout the years, but I requested time and time again, is this something that we really need? Each time was told that, yeah, that's what they expect, that's what they want. So it is difficult sometimes to get out from under a report or a project or a task that has been around for a while.
That's just it. So many people just get used to doing either that report or receiving that. They don't see that there's a better way. So I think a lot of times we need to take a step back, review our processes, even make your reports just a little different. And I will admit, I've been guilty. I do monthly reports. I should probably change them up a little bit, make the appearance a little different so your recipients know, hey, this looks different. Let's hope that they're reading these reports that are being sent.
Very good. Well, that's Don't Be That Analyst. If you are interested in being a caller on Don't Be That Analyst, send us an email at leapodcasts@gmail.com. Or if you're interested in being on a guest on this show, email us as well.